Hey everyone, welcome to another Coach Mo Live. If you're watching this live, welcome. We've got a treat for you. I've got three awesome women who are awesome clients, and they're going to share some of their story, what they've learned along the journey. And I'm just super happy to have this group of ladies joining me for one of these wonderful conversations about how women can bring their souls to work, thrive in their career, and then thrive in life. So when we bring our soul to work, we actually bring it everywhere we go. So part of the secret sauce of what we do here at Team Coach Mo and our kickass career workshop is to help women really sort of dust off some of the stuff that's happened in the career, some of the even life traumas, like you might hear from one of our gals here, and just rise above and create something new. So welcome. And it's Coach MoFall, mofall.com, everywhere on the internet. And stay tuned for some really cool personal stories and great sharing. So I want to welcome Paula. Hello, Paula, hailing from Northern Virginia, Paige hailing from Washington State, and Elaine from New York State in the Hudson Valley area. Let's start, Paula, with you. Life had handed you sort of like a bad series of things. And the way I recall it, sort of like there was no easy way out for you at that point. Perfectly share whatever feels comfortable, but different woman now. But what was going on several years ago for you?
Yeah, when I booked my clarity call, I was in a really rough spot. I had lost my job due to where I was working sold. The new owners got rid of the top management, and so I lost my job. A month later, my husband passed away. So I was, with that, kind of resurfaced a ton of childhood wounds and traumas that I kind of pushed away that I realize now really had a huge impact on my career.
Yeah.
So when I booked that clarity call, I had been unemployed for, I think, 6 months. Money was running out. I knew I had to do something. I had no trouble getting interviews, but I couldn't get over that hump to get a job.
Yeah. And you're in the HR world, right? So kind of plenty of jobs out there. Like you said,
plenty of interviews.
Interviewing. And so what happens when we're sort of like punched in the face and in the gut at the same time? You're energetically just not able to be all that you can be. And then you came through the 12-week workshop and did the work. And lo and behold, a different result happened for you.
Yes, I got a job. I think it was in the 8th week of the 12-week workshop. It was a job. It wasn't, moving forward in my career. It was definitely a lateral transfer from where I was. Ended up being a little bit of a step back, but it at least got me employed. And now I look back and I realize I'm glad it wasn't an overly challenging job, because it gave me time to continue working on myself. I gained a lot of tools and growth through the 12-week workshop, but I still had a lot of work that I needed to do. I was happy to be employed and having money coming in, but since then I kept doing the work, and since that job, I've now moved jobs twice until I got the job that was right now is my dream job for now.
Yes, and you've become the woman. I'm just going to say it this way, that you always knew was inside there, and she had time to recover from the devastation of years ago, come back into her own, get back to work, realize who you are, what you bring to the table. What was the main lesson or the main integration of the coaching that really helped you move forward?
I think probably one big thing was letting go of how I felt other people perceived me and what I think other people wanted me to do and be. I'm proud to say I'm the black sheep in my family. I'm completely different from everybody in my family. And they weren't supportive of the things that I wanted to do. Like when I wanted to go to college, they don't understand my job now. None of them. I'm the first in my family to go to college. they didn't understand why I wanted to do that. They weren't supportive of my growth. So I always felt like I didn't belong.
Yeah.
And then after attending the top program for my field, I still felt like I didn't belong because, you know, here I'm straddling these two worlds and letting go of a lot of what are people thinking about me. That was a big thing that was holding me back.
Yeah. That's so
and once
good.
once I started letting go of that, and it's like, I am who I want to be. I know I'm a good person. I don't care what other people think. I'm not doing anything that really offends anybody. So once I'm like, I'm going to be me, I'm going to be who I am, things really started turning around for me.
So good. And when we integrate that sense of self, a lot more is possible. And you've certainly kept building on that. Paige, I know that you can relate to what Paul is talking about. What was going on, and what have you learned about yourself or taking your soul and your career to the next level since we started working together years ago as well?
Yes, so many similarities. Totally resonating with me with what I just heard, right? And so 9 out of 10 ACEs growing up, adverse childhood experiences, thought I'd kind of made it through, right? Because things were still happening. I was a principal and doing all these great things with my team, and but my marriage had just gone through 3 years of it was separation, but I had filed for divorce. He had just left me and my children, and it was just a really difficult time. Yeah. We were just, as I had the clarity call with you, we had just come back together, and it was still a little rocky in this reconciliation. Yeah. And so it was a huge point of me deciding, yes, I had just finished my doctorate, but where am I going to go? Am I going to, I had moved to Tacoma from the Bellevue area, and so didn't have any connections with schools. Right. Do I keep going with the principal position? I looked at educational neuroscience, and in your program, you know, you know it as a nurse. You have other coaches that are steeped in that wisdom, and it basically just connected with me and my decision to continue my studies postdoctoral at Butler University. And so I felt like I had support from you and your team, as well as and knowledgeable support, right? As well as making this change in my career, which ultimately moved me out of being a principal and into a consultant, a teacher and trainer, training principals and teachers in educational neuroscience. And so this has been huge for me. I'm making so much more money, but also in control of my schedule. Yeah. And so a challenge to say no is definitely there, but that is being helped by insights and wisdom from your team too, and helping me just to be confident in my competence, which I had so many limiting beliefs, still are working through those, right? But now I've seen them, and when you can see them, it's huge. It's like we know what we're working on and moving forward. So this month I'm in San Francisco at an amazing brain conference. Cool. So for education, and I'm going to be sharing my research, and I'm working on a book, and I'm working with a publisher right now, and editing like crazy. And so it's just been phenomenal. But this program, I think the biggest start for this program for me was just the practices that you expect us, if we want to level up, to just do the work, and we support each other as a team. Our coaches are there. All the extra programs, if we want to go next level, are so accessible and so helpful and so empowering. And just getting down to a morning routine that you get us on, and we just grow in it. You know, 10 of our 10 gratitudes and 10 affirmations, and meditation and tapping all these tools that we have to be able to slow down our nervous system and have a calm and a peace in our lives that help us to bring out our best selves. And that has been like a starting point for me, besides just full ability to I think of Socrates as the secret of change is basically the focus on not going back and fighting the old, right? But building the new. And
Amen.
You've helped me embrace the old, right? And through forgiveness exercises, working through my ACEs, my crap that I thought, I had taken care of that came up in my limiting beliefs, right? And you helped me move forward and build the new, because that's what I needed to do to up level, to be able to have the freedom of being able to make my schedule and be able to take care of family as well as my career. So
let me ask you this, Paige. What's different inside primarily? What's the different feeling that you have inside through your personal transformation, which of course, as you and I have worked together, it's been layer after layer, but what would you say is the main before and after inside you?
Yeah, just a liberated, you focus on the soul, it's huge, right? Being able to read my soul, right? And be aware. That's my nervous system, that's my everything, right? And basically lead my soul. Like, how do I take charge and move forward out of my belief system, my circumstances, the crap that we deal with on the daily with our teams. Yeah. And then be able to feed our soul, like to nurture our soul, to be able to take care of ourselves, because we're worth it. And I'm a woman of faith, and I know, God uses you, my divine uses you, right? You just, you want the best for us, and it's obvious. So the power of team is a huge part of my knowledge, that I have a team of ladies that are in process with me, and we're working on it together, and we're empowering each other, and it's huge. Yeah. So good. And how different, or how much of a difference you can make, of course, in the work that you are doing, sharing not just the science, but the personal empowerment that comes when we learn about how our body takes in stress, takes in trauma, takes in, I know that there's an entire science, which you're more familiar with than I am, about adverse childhood events. Most people have at least one adverse childhood event. And so as we have an experience of being an adult, clearing up that energy and being able to free ourselves is really, really important. And being able to take that into the educational sector is a huge new way of looking at helping kids not just learn content, but learn how to navigate life and empower themselves. So bravo for taking that to the next level. I love it. So Elaine, you come out of the academic world as well, and you were ready for breaking free and taking it to the next level. When you had your clarity call, things were sort of a little choppy. And what have you learned about yourself and your next chapter?
Well, a couple of things. One is that I am good at a lot of different things. I originally thought I was going to specialize in one area of research librarianship. And instead, what I found is my true value is that I start up stuff at academic libraries, and they get launched into permanent parts of the service of that library. So now I'm pursuing alternatives like that, much better, much more suited to my soul.
Yes, exactly.
My true personality, the real me.
Yes.
And I'm much happier for that, and I'm seeing benefits as a result of it. Yeah.
You got into your genius zone, realizing the value that you uplift educators and research scientists, let's call it, for lack of a better word, giving them information and tools so that they can go about doing their work, and you build the necessary like research pipeline for them. I mean, I think librarians are misunderstood. I've had like 5 or 6 librarians over the years in the workshop, and I personally love librarians because I love people who love information. It's a lot of fun. And so as you got into sort of like clicked back into your soul's truth, the fact that you love researching, you love helping people, you love lifting things, you love growing these, let's call it libraries for lack of a better word, but I know it's sort of systemically a little bit more than that. What's your biggest turn on for that inside? Like you see what more about yourself?
Well, when I looked at the long view of my career, I've really accomplished so much.
Yeah.
And I haven't really thought of it that way. I've always thought of myself as kind of like puttering along.
Ah.
So that gave me a lot of reinforcement. Like, I really am kind of kick-ass.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So,
I mean, I have a book, you know, we have faculty status like professors. So I have published articles and books, and I didn't think anything of it. And
right.
you know,
now you see your truth, your value, your worth.
Yeah.
Makes life different, doesn't it? It makes it a little bit more fun to not just a little bit more. It turns life back on. Do you find that that's what happened to you over the past several months?
To a large degree, absolutely. More than one might expect from doing 10 brags, 10 gratitudes, and 10 minutes of meditation. Listening to some videos, writing some stuff down, but the tips are amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
So the integration of, first of all, your soul print, your soul truth, your personal mission statement, along with the other tools that we have you do so that you can keep moving that in its right place, moving the genius version of you in its right place. And I know in doing the work and coaching so many women over the years, when you finally see that on paper, when you finally see who you are on your resume, and we coach you through like interviewing or asking for a promotion, and you're talking about yourself in a new way, like, what's that like?
It's really refreshing. And it is also empowering. I don't know how to explain it. I have a pitch, right? I don't have to like describe myself. I've got that. I got it in my pocket. You know, so I'm prepared. I don't know. It's been really great. It's been a big difference. And from being sort of feeling like a victim of the circumstances of my position to feeling, you know, to being asked to design my own job, you know.
I mean, it's just fantastic. And you know, congratulations, because that to me is you showing up in a way that is just, the world is becoming that reflection now.
Yes.
Paula, I know you've had this experience again, each time you've up leveled, and you kind of came to the conclusion, I think I'm ready for more. I think I'm ready to play at a bigger level. And since we've known each other nearly 5 years now, and you've been doing the work consistently, I mean, it's been a beautiful thing to watch you just continue to rise up. How much different is it for you to show up at work and also to have interviewed over the years and just keep shining brighter?
When I interviewed for the job that I currently have, it felt more like conversations.
Yes.
I interviewed right after the retreat. So I came off of all of the work from the retreat, and one of the interviewers asked me 5 words to describe myself. And I think I need to go back to him and ask him if he took notes on what I said, because I didn't even have to think about it, because it flowed out. And then at the end, he was just like, wow, I love that. And it was just so easy for me to describe myself in ways that showed how I could be of value to the company, that before, 5 years ago when I was interviewing, I couldn't do that because I was depleted. And it totally shows even now with how I reach out to people. Before, I would have been, you know, I would shy away when I had to call somebody, or, you know, especially now with Teams, and it's like, oh, I have to call somebody. Now I can do it with ease because I know my value, I know my worth, and that has showed with how the people I work with respond. My bosses just changed last year, and you know, in the time after my boss left, a lot of people were coming to me. Some of my coworkers were coming to me for advice on things that they would have gone to her. And it's like, you know, I'm like, wow, they see me as valued. And then when my new boss started, people were still coming to me with questions that they should have been going to Helm. So it's just kind of like seeing that, wow, I'm definitely a true contributor in my company now, where before I wasn't.
Yes. So good. And just being able to witness you being in your power, being sort of at the same time, it's funny, like the soul grounds us, even though it's an energetic phenomenon, it's so grounding. And watching you speak just even now, and having a memory of watching you over the years, like that power and that grounding is so noticeable, and it's so radiant, and it's just really a beautiful thing to watch. As you keep learning more about yourself, and sort of like what I asked Paige earlier, like what's that feeling going on inside of Paula? Like what's happening in the feeling state of you?
Before, I felt very afraid of everything, and it was kind of like, what world do I really fit into? And if I say something, is somebody going to think something bad about me? So now it's like I really feel comfortable being who I am and letting people see that, where before I would shy away, and now I'm just kind of like, you know, with all of the tools that I have, all the amazing coaches that I've had, I've really been able to squash all of those things that were holding me back. And now it's like I feel like I'm free to be me, instead of hiding away and being afraid of everything.
Right on. If you're listening to this, professional women, you're witnessing three women who have made a choice to be responsible for their destiny, made a choice being responsible for how they feel and how they create their life intentionally. And that might seem a bit like fairy tale-ish. If you haven't seen my masterclass, I encourage you to see that, because I simply go through the 5 shifts that we've taken these ladies through, and we've taken nearly 2,000 other women through over the years. And that is mofall.com/masterclass. And one of the things I talk about there, sort of neutralizing the concept of negativity, is calling it gremlins. And when we have sort of an invasion of gremlins, which can be adverse childhood events, it can be past job trauma, it can be a personal crisis or an event like a death of a spouse, there's negative energy that's sort of housed in us, looking to be processed through. And gosh darn our human psychology, we just want to push that down and ignore it and not have to deal with it. It feels so much better just to shove it under the rug. Well, those gremlins get a little noisy after a while. Paige, there was a pretty decent crisis of you not getting your career back on track. And sort of the gremlins had piled up enough that you didn't even know next steps, who you were, what you wanted to do. I mean, they were stuck on you everywhere. How's that gremlin infestation going for you now? As you said earlier, it's but just talk about that from that perspective a little bit, just for some fun.
Wow, just being able to have the understanding that it takes to recognize them as what they are, and to realize that that's not truth, right? And just to realize that I have the power to calm my nervous system,
right,
and take some deep breaths, and do what I need to get back into clarity, right? And really being able to see things the way they are, and not the way that my beautiful brain that's in fear mode continually, the way it was. Right? About everything, and questioning everything, and not believing in myself. And again, this this program from my clarity call on, even though you pushed me on that clarity call, you know, and you questioned the decisions that I had made or that what I was thinking about making, and you made it clear that you believed in me. And as I started the program, my coaches believed in me, and I really didn't feel like it, oh, they're just being paid to believe in me. Like they were committed and believed in me, and it wasn't just, you know, they were doing the work of commitment, and they were realizing that they were going to take some of the credit because I was giving it to them for helping me move forward and get out of myself, my limiting beliefs, right? And it is a continual process. I think that's the humanness of us, that we're going to continually be fighting this, but every fight that we, you know, pursue and then take care of makes us you know, stronger and clearer and more empowered to help our teams, to help our families, to help ourselves again as we continue to process through it. So yeah, it's in continual fighting those gremlins mode, but man, when we name it, we can tame it.
Yeah, there you go. When you were talking about that, the metaphor that came to me was physical therapy. Because all of a sudden, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking, oh, that's just like physical therapy. When the physical therapist basically says, I know you had a car accident, but we're going to get you back to walking. And you're like, but my legs, my body, what? Yeah, we're going to get you back to walking. And here's what we're going to do. And the first couple of things are mobility and stretching exercises to get the limbs back into gear. And then you got to take the steps. You got to do the work. You got to walk along those parallel bars for a little while until your legs get the strength. And then when they do, how about doing it without the parallel bars? Are you sure? Yes, you got this. And so continually like building up the self to free expression, writing books, landing new jobs, building new houses, having new cars. Like that's not materialistic per se. What it is a full expression of how we want to enjoy and live life. And I just love what you just laid down, because it just like gave me this whole, like, I'm just imagining here's Paige sort of limping around a little bit because you got sort of punched in the face by the workplace a little bit, even though you were always an optimistic gal, but wobbly. I don't know. I feel a little injured. I feel a little hurt. I'm not sure if I can do that. So, and again, so much good stuff with the track that you've been on and how you've made your career happen and followed the line that feels right and good and so solid for you. Elaine, again, back to you with the sort of newbie of being a pretty new graduate to the workshop and sort of getting your feet back on life and getting your soul back. I know you traveled a little bit and you've had a little bit more of like just enjoying life a little bit. How do you feel in living life now compared to 6 months ago?
Well, one thing is I felt guilty when I would take vacations. And now I feel entitled to take my vacation. I did want to show you, I do have my, I don't know if you can see it. It's probably
the gremlin sweater.
Very handy, very handy.
Very handy.
You have to use it a little bit more like this than swatting.
Yeah, you don't want to hit yourself too hard, but yeah.
But definitely, I feel I have earned the benefits that I am afforded in my position, right?
Yes.
So, you know, I don't feel guilty when there's understaffing in part of the library that's not my problem, right? So, you know, things like that. I don't know. That doesn't sound good, but there are things that I always felt responsible for and people I felt responsible for. Yeah. And I'm not responsible for them. I'm responsible for moi.
Yes.
You know, and maybe the people I supervise, but not the way I was before, you know, not caretaking everybody and not
amen.
You know, setting some boundaries has been a really good thing.
Absolutely. And you know, the interesting thing is what you're talking about right now, I think is a pretty big problem across all professions for women who are normal nature is to take care of. It's feminine energy to take care of. So we're going to step in when someone else has a problem. We're going to go in over here. We're going to go over there. We're going to see a problem before other people do and fill in the blanks. And as much as that seems like the proper right thing to do, as a human, you get depleted when you go into someone else's area. And frankly, what I also have witnessed in my career as an executive, when team members overextend, you lose the real focus on what kind of staffing or teams you need, because you've got someone doing 2.5 people's work and someone else over here maybe not doing whatever. And the high achieving, high performing women of the world have stepped in so many times to overdo, because we feel that that's what our reward system is. And it depletes us. And it also skews the reality for what an organization needs from its team. So I know when you said it, you felt like you were being less of a team member. I get that. And that this is what women all over the world feel like when they're not overdoing. Like, why am I not being such? You're a great team member. You don't have to reach into someone else's role to do that. And again, being a sports lover so much, like when team members on a sports field do someone else's role, their role isn't covered and something happens to lose the game.
Yeah.
And that's a brilliant thing to move into. Go ahead.
Oh, you were talking about before we went live, you were talking about previous careers. And in my previous career, yes, they had 3 people replace me when I left.
Case in point, I am not surprised. I am not surprised. And that's something that is definitely worth fixing, which you have done. And that's when your soul comes to life. You no longer have to put up these artificial boundaries to save yourself from doing things you shouldn't be doing. You are now just fully, wholly expressed as you, and you stay in your lane and do your thing and be an awesome version of what you are, and not feel like you have to bleed over into someone else's turf to prove how awesome you are, which is a dysfunction. I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's a dysfunction. And coming into your power and into your place as who you are allows you to have even a more full, greater expression in the genius version of who you are. Ladies, I just love talking to you because I love watching who you are now and talking about who you've become. Let's just go around real quick and just anything that you'd like to share, either of your past self that you're like, oh, Paula, I'm so glad you did this, or for a woman who may be in a similar situation to where you were. What's some final words of advice? Paula, you can hit us off on that one.
I know when I did my clarity call, I was definitely afraid to answer the call, but I did it anyway. And don't be afraid to ask for help. It's, think about where, if your life is not going where you want it to be, it's okay to ask for help. It's, as many coaches even, continuously talk about how, most of your professional athletes, musicians, they continue to have coaches to help them. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid of the things you might say in the clarity call, because, we all have a story. We all have a past that we have to work to overcome.
Yes.
But, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, you just join the program, everything magically changes. It's going to take work, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thanks you for that. And it's mofall.com/talk in order to book your clarity call. And that's a deep dive. It's a discovery. It's a diagnosis. It's a what's going on and where do you want to go? And can we help you with that? Are we the right solution for you? And certainly it was the right fix for you, Paula. And again, kudos for doing your inner work. Kudos for taking responsibility for picking your life up from what in all measure from most human beings on this planet was a lot deeper than many humans will probably ever experience. So bravo for the Phoenix has risen, and you really deserve really to feel really great about how you've come alive. Paige, what would you have to say to folks out there, or a principal who's sort of struggling with, is this what I should be doing? Can I do it? Is this my right move?
Well, I just want to say thank you to everything that Paula shared, because that so resonated with me as well. And I celebrate her because I've seen that whole progression as well.
Yes.
And just like you said, Paula, you are glowing right now. And it's just such a joy to be a part of seeing the process, and how you have spoken life into me over the years too, as well. And so very grateful for your victories and your process. And I think I am going to focus on the coachability within all of us if we choose that. And I do know that I just spoke about coaches believing in me, but I didn't believe in myself on that clarity call and the years preceding that. And so when there's no self-efficacy, having coach efficacy, right? We don't believe in ourselves, right? Efficacy is believing in ourselves. Here's self-efficacy. But when you can believe in your coach, that they are equipped, and the coaching team, and the women that you are on these calls with, who will also speak life to you on Facebook and share things you're learning from the coaching of others, because you're going to resonate with them. You're going to see things that, we're all human, and we go through so many similar challenges, and we're empowered by the success of others, like I am with Paula, and also we connect with them in their struggles, and we learn from their being coached. And so taking on and embracing teacher or coach efficacy when we don't have it ourselves, and using that, right, as our belief, right, that we can do it, because belief is everything. And when we believe in our coaches or teachers or trainers, that can be the difference of just phenomenal transformational growth. And that's what we're experiencing right now. Yeah.
So good. And the world needs every single soul to be shiny and bright as much as possible. And that's our gift to the world. It's our gift to ourselves, and it's our gift to our creator to be that version. Elaine, again, you're the newbie on this call, relatively speaking. What's the best words you have for gals who might be sort of struggling with how their organization is either going to move them forward or not?
Well, I have to say, and this isn't really a direct answer to your question, but I did that master class before I booked my clarity call. And I also vetted other coaches before I booked my clarity call. But that master class really sealed the deal for me, that I knew I was in the right place. Your 5 steps, I wanted more.
What's the next 5?
What's the next 5? Yeah, that's 8 modules, 8 by 8, right? Plans, goal setting, all of that. And I do feel there's hope, right? And the solutions are not in like time management, like rigor. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of like success people out there, and they don't address the soul piece. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, time management is important, but you're not ever going to sustain it. Good time management if you're not right with yourself, if you're not good to go.
Amen. Oh, that's about as succinct as possible on the work that we do. And that was a major golden nugget. And, my personal experience that you ladies all know is that I struggled in my career, and I didn't know I was struggling because it looked like it was pretty darn good. But inside, my soul was so depleted. I was so angry about being passed over for promotions, being treated differently as a woman in the workplace, eventually getting cancer, and coming back and going, no, I'm just going to be who I am, not with a chip on my shoulder, not with this unabashed arrogance of this is just who I am, take it or leave it, but really showing up as to who I am as a human and how that made me a better executive and a better leader. Like, I was thriving on the inside better after cancer than I ever did when I was, quote unquote, a healthy marathon runner. And so that is the secret sauce that we use, your soul, to help you come back. And you're right. You're never going to be able to implement a strategy that's going to be worth anything if inside you're depleted, you feel lousy about yourself, you're full of negative energy. So bravo for just, that was a good nugget. Best said yet. And folks, if you'd like to get on this journey and have some success like you're hearing about today with these beautiful women, Paula, Paige, and Elaine, all booked a complimentary career clarity call to get the ball rolling. And as Paula said, she was scared to death about that call. And many of our gals who turn into clients are, and that's mofall.com/talk. You'll talk to a fantastic coach who will talk about your career breakthrough possibilities. And if what's not working for you is something we fix, we're going to fight like heck to advocate for you to jump on the transformational train and get your soul built back up. It's well worth it. It's a life-changing, altering, up-leveling of yourself, and everyone around you will win. But most importantly, your life is that important. Ladies, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for believing in us when maybe you couldn't believe in you. And now you're believing in yourself and you're seeing yourself shining. That is the work that we do in Team Coach Mo. And for those of you who have been with us for this, thank you so much for being with us. And do take it seriously what you could be and what can be possible for you in this world and in this life. mofall.com/talk to get going with a clarity call, or mofall.com/masterclass to learn the 5 shifts that Elaine just mentioned are like, what? That was me. So again, thanks, ladies. Coach Mo Fall everywhere on social media, and we'll see you next